Hi there, thanks for joining. How to make purple. And the short answer is you mix a red and a blue. But as we grow older and wiser, it begins to matter what kind of purple we get when we mix. And that gets influenced by what kind of red and what kind of blue we use. This is ultramarine blue, this is phthalo blue, this is king's blue, and this is, how do they call it, grayish blue. And to make matters more complicated and fun, we have all kinds of reds as well. I have magenta here, and there I have carmine. Here we have pyrrole red, and here we have cadmium red light. So now let's think first, because when we want to get a vivid purple, we already know from the color mixing videos that we need to mix only two primaries. So for instance, this kind of blue, this ultramarine blue, it consists of a true primary blue and a little bit of magenta already when you look on the color wheel. But blue and magenta is good for making a purple, so that should be a good color to make purple with. So I'll put it over here. Here I have magenta. Magenta, we all know from the color mixing videos, is a true primary when painting with pigments. So it doesn't contain yellow and it doesn't contain blue. So if I add this to the ultramarine, I should get a vivid purple color. Because now I'm only mixing two primaries. Ultramarine contains only a little bit of magenta of itself already and a little bit of cyan. And that is not, technically it's not the case, it's a pigment, but when you look at it theoretically, that's how it is. So you see we get a very nice intense purple. And of course the same old story as always, if I add more ultramarine, then we get a more bluish purple, as well a beautiful color. And if I add more magenta, I get a more red kind of purple. And of course you can balance that, and you can make all kinds of steps in between. But I know my audience is very smart, so I didn't need to tell that, of course. Now this one is carmine red, and carmine red leans a little bit towards purple, but still it has a little bit of red in it. So technically speaking, it contains still a little bit of yellow, a very tiny amount of yellow, because red contains magenta and yellow, technically speaking. If we mix this color through the ultramarine, see what you get. You get a less saturated, a less vivid purple, you see? So now of course I should add some more ultramarine to get more to the bluish side. You see, you still get purple, and there's nothing wrong with this purple, because maybe you need it like this. That's not the problem, but it is to show you the color theory in practice. The purple will get even less vivid if we use this kind of red or this. Let me use as extreme, I skip this one because it's almost the same, but if I take this kind of red, cadmium yellow light, it is already a little bit towards the orange side, so it contains even more yellow. And then when we mix it with ultramarine, we won't get that vivid of a purple as well. So you see, it's more towards brown even. That's why it's important to know this, because sometimes people start mixing, oh, I need purple, I need red and blue. Yeah, but you need first to ask yourself, what kind of purple do I want? And then, what colors do I need? Do they need to neutralize each other, so that you use three primaries in essence? Or do you need a vivid purple and you don't want to neutralize the colors? So you must make sure then that you used at most two primaries. Let me clean the palette a little bit. So you see, I waste quite a lot of paint in making these videos, but I hope in the end, in the bigger scheme of things, that it saves more paint overall, because I hope that when people have a better understanding of color mixing, it will save everyone paint. Let's look at phthalo blue. Phthalo blue is a very different kind of blue than ultramarine blue, and you can see that best when I add a little bit of white. We get this kind of blue, and now I mix a little bit of white with a little bit of phthalo blue and see what an enormous difference there is between these two colors. In dark form they look very similar, but when you add white you see the difference. This one is more neutral and this one is more towards purple. That you can see that very clearly now. So if we want to make a purple with phthalo blue, chances are that we get a very nice purple. And why is this? Why is this a saturated, nice looking purple? Well, that's because of the fact that phthalo blue is a reasonably neutral blue. In fact, it's a dark form of cyan. So what we're doing here is we mix one primary color with only one other primary color, so it's the same story again. Then we get a vivid secondary color. I'm making it very difficult for myself, but I'm gonna stand over here and try to mix it. There you go, beautiful purples. Oh, and I completely forgot to tell, of course, but you can of course make these colors all lighter as well. So, but now the other blue colors, I've put them on the palette on purpose, but I already know that we cannot get nice purples with these colors. And why is that? Because for instance this color, King's Blue, it's a nice color, no problems with this color whatsoever, but when I add magenta to it, look what it does. It is a nice color and maybe you need it for something. This is in fact a kind of blue that's a little bit towards the light side. It contains white. So I think I get a similar result when I put white through this mixture that we have made here. This mixture was phthalo blue with magenta. And when I make that lighter I can come to the same color. But now you see this contains too much magenta. So when I add slightly more phthalo, now you see I'm a little bit off in value, but you get the idea, it's the same. And that is because this one is a lighter version. And that's also of course why you don't need to buy all the colors that you see in the shop. It's handy if you, for instance, if I need this color, for instance here you see a kind of like this color on the painting. Then it's easy to grab a tube of that color and you get to the result quicker. But when you just start painting, it's good for your understanding of color theory and color mixing that you use less colors. That can be good. There are no rules, but it can be helpful. Now this color we already see, and also as well it is called grayish blue. We see why. It's very dull compared to what we've got on the palette. But with this color it will be quite difficult to make a vivid purple, of course, again. So if I add magenta to it, you see we get a nice color, but you see as well it's more gray and it is more light again. So it has something to do with this. You can see already here, because this one contains a little bit more blue than that one. This is less gray, so you see the effect. So I hope that was helpful. Thanks for watching. See you next time.